This specific spot, it just came and found me. I wasn't looking for it. I was pretty happy with my life the way it was, and it found me. And it's one of those things that once you've seen it, and if you've got any kind of love for history and old equipment, it sucks you right in. Well, the best that I can, the permit was issued by the Forest Service in 1939. That was the original permit. There's some speculation that it was actually built in 1935, but they got the permit in 39. So somewhere between 1935 and 39. I think it's a living museum. Most museums you go into, you see items, but you don't see them in their natural environment. Ketchikan has a great museum. They have curators there. They have all kinds of stuff that you can go in and it tells what it is. But it was brought to that location. It's not in its natural environment where it was used. This here, everything here is in its natural environment where it gets used. And so to be able to walk into the place like this, I like people to walk into it cold and see it come alive and see the history. And there's very few places you can actually do that to where you don't see anything of today. And so to be able to walk into it, and that's what I've had people say, is it was like, I feel like I just stepped back 50 years or 80 years. And to be able to do that for people and understand what it was and to see the work that had to be done to build a boat as part of this culture of Alaska, this is the last place you can do that. So to me, the importance of preserving this far outweighs any business that could ever actually be in it. It's a live museum. Show me another one. Show me another one. Tom Stevens, he is Israel Stevens' son, the original builder. And I met Tom the first time back in the 90s. He came by, and his mother, Minnie Stevens, grew up over in Kasan. She was a postmaster there, and then she was also, I believe, a teacher. And then Israel and Minnie married, and they had Tom. And so Tom's from this area as well. Not only from here, but he grew up when they sold the place, and then he lived down in Washington. But he would come back and visit, and he brought some stuff up a few times, but the last time I wasn't here when he showed up, and I came home, and he had grabbed a Sharpie I'd left out here on the workbench and a piece of aluminum and wrote me the note. And so I gave him a call and we chatted again, and Tom died last year, and so he's no longer with us. But yeah, he was really good. He provided me with a lot of the old pictures that their family had taken, and a lot of those are with the museum now in Ketchikan as well. The Stevie and the Glenda Joe were boats that were built here by Israel Stevens, so I haven't actually worked on those. The Glenda Joe is still floating. It's under a different name now, but the Capella, that one was owned by Skip Escovan. He lives over in Kasan, and he'd bring it over, pressure wash it, put zincs on it. He would paint it, put new bottom paint on it. And then we had the Puffin, which was a small tugboat out of Kasan that came over. I'm trying to remember, there's another big one, a bigger one, came over from Kasan. And then we had the Party Doll. That's a 40, I think it's a 46-foot fiberglass one. The guys down in, there's a sailboat in Hollis that they would do work on, and a couple others. But we'd get them as far away as Thorn Bay coming down here, because the nearest grid is clear over in Ketchikan. So yeah, for the local people, it's very handy to have. So, as far as I know, and I've been told, it's the last fully functioning wooden boat shop on the west coast of this era. And when you stand here, we try and keep it very authentic, and even hand tools that are battery powered, I don't like sitting out, because it's like you can step back in time. You know, when you see this stuff moving, and we've talked a little bit about it, you know, you can see it and you can hear it, but you can't feel it and you can't smell it. Kind of like a video game and flying an airplane in that's great, but you can't feel the G-forces, you can't smell the fuel burning, you can't feel the vibration of it. Same thing here. You know, this equipment, when it gets going, it's almost got its own rhythm, beat. I equate it to, it's kind of like an orchestra. When everything's going smooth and it's running right, and it feels good. When first got the place, I think my son, let's see, would have been 94, so he was about, I think, 12 at the time, maybe a little less. Anyway, and my father was 60, I think he was 62, or roughly right around there, 65. And so him and I couldn't do it without him. And so he said, yeah, I want in on this. And so him and I bought the place, and he did a lot of the paperwork on permitting and things like that, and I was the muscle behind moving all the heavy stuff. But yeah, it's been the whole family, me and my dad, and then my son is over the last 25 years, everything here that we've worked on, we've all had a hand in it. And now my grandson, he comes around and helps too. He hands me nails and screws and whatnot while we're working. So it's definitely a family affair, 4 generations. My dad in October will turn 90 this year. So yeah, that's a good picture. When we first got into it, the Forest Service was pretty hesitant about giving a permit. We had to prove that we could, well, first of all, we had to prove that we had the skill set to do it. So my dad's background and mine and the resources, and then they gave us 2 years to get it up and running and be functional. And we met it. It was really difficult. The place was pretty overgrown and run down, and like the turbine was completely filled up with sand and gravel. There's some dead animals in it too. And we had to just shovel it all out by hand and then get it all up and running, get water into it again. And the pipeline was rotted out, so we ended up buying a piece of HDPEP, high density polyethylene pipe from Burnett Inlet Fish Hatchery, and it was 580 feet long. We towed it, one piece of pipe from there down to here, and then winched it up the mountainside to put it into place so that we'd have water to run the turbine again. And so that got us power and got us up and running. Obviously had to clear all the trees out and replumb everything, and there were holes in the walls where people had just taken a chainsaw and cut a hole to put a water line in and a valve on the end of it. So all the decks were caved in or rotting out, and we had to redo all that. All the foundation under the house was bad. The shop, a lot of it was, and that's an ongoing thing, maintaining and doing repairs on that. And a lot more people used to live like this, the logging camps and everything else. There was, in logging camp, you got other people you go to, there's shops there, all that. But a place like this, you want something, you plan for it. You know, you don't go run down to the corner store to grab a quart of milk. You go to town once, maybe twice, or once every 1 or 2 weeks you go to town, and you have a list, and that's, you go get your stuff and you plan ahead for it. And you know, if you're doing a big job, you got the logistics of anything out here, because there's no road. So you're going to be bringing it in by boat, and if it's bigger than your boat, you got to bring it in on a barge or a float or something like that. So you got to work the tides, you got to work, you know, sometimes it's in the middle of the night, sometimes it's, if you're lucky, it's in the daytime. You hope the weather doesn't kick up. You get 6 foot, 9 foot breakers hitting the beach here, and you're not going to do anything, and 60, 70 mile an hour winds whipping through here, you're done. You just don't work on those days. You stay inside and do your work. Anything, you know, more than 200 pounds trying to bring up the beach into this place was just, it was a big job. And so you just do what you can, and you plan ahead, and you use a lot of mechanical advantage, come-alongs, and you know, you look at the old miners that came in here, that big turbine out there, that thing's probably a ton. And they brought that in. I have no idea how they got it up in there, but they did. I'm sure they did the same thing. Chain falls, come along, skidded it up there, jacked it up, and put it into place. So, yeah, same MO, just later years. It's not just the miners. Talking with Tom Stevens in Israel, he talks about his father Israel, who built the place, and he was a Renaissance green man. He scavenged a lot of stuff from different places around here. The wood pipeline, the wood stave pipeline that was here came from one place. The turbine came from another place. And all the machinery, the belts and all the pulleys and drive wheels and everything came out of canneries and old mine sites. So he had to put all that together to make what it is. So yeah, it's probably a homage to everybody that was in the area. It really took from all the different industries here, and it's all put together here in one place. The people from Kasan would bring their boats over, and to put a boat up on a grid and have just zincs welded on. There's no place here to do it. The closest one is Ketchikan. So anybody wants to pull a boat out of the water and scrape the bottom and paint it or anything else that's a decent sized boat, if they can't pull it on a trailer, it's got to go to Ketchikan. That's the closest place. So the communities have all been great. People come out here, they come by, they need something done. We know each other. Sometimes when I have to go to work and I'm not here, people come down and use the grid and take care of stuff. I've had that happen I didn't even know they had. And they'll come by later and say, hey, we used your grid and your pressure washer. And it's like, yeah, great. So, you know, I think the communities here are what you wish the rest of the world was like, or the rest of America was like today. My neighbor Keith, he's 2 miles away, but he comes over and checks on the place for me. The people from Kasan would come over and check on it if I wasn't here, and we do the same thing for them. If they need something. The other day, Keith, he needed a hand and needed some diving done, and so I jumped in the boat and ran across and helped him. He comes over and helps me. Same thing with the people from Kasan, Skip Escovan over there and the others. They've come over and helped, and it's not individual, we're one big community. The whole purpose of Israel Stevens putting this here was it had water. And as long as you have water falling downhill, you have the ability to have power. And once you put it into a pipeline, or as he did originally with the flume on a water wheel, now you got a machine cutting your wood for you. You don't have to do it by hand. And so that job that would have taken you a week to cut a plank to go onto a boat, you can now do in a couple hours. That's just smart thinking right there. We still do a little bit of woodwork, but most of it now is aluminum. We do aluminum fabrication and build small skiffs. So it's just smaller stuff, and then some bigger stuff, but what we're doing is building the small skiffs. Well, the wood boats are pretty rare nowadays. Everybody's either got glass or aluminum. And so having the ability to still do the historic woodwork and take care of that, but also have some income from aluminum as well, is why we chose to do that. Aluminum's a real popular, especially in skiffs and even the bigger boats. It's very durable and it lasts a long time, and so that's what everybody's going with. And a welded aluminum skiff is way more durable than a riveted, and so that's, if you've got a nice heavy-duty welded aluminum skiff, you're going to have it for a long time. You put 25 years into anything, show me somebody that has, and not get paid for it. You don't do it for the money. In fact, I put more money into this than I will ever get out of it. So to walk away from something that you put 25 years of your life into, and your father's and your son's, it's pretty harsh. Yeah, when the Forest Service decided they weren't going to extend my permit, and actually told me that last year, we decided to go ahead and put together a website, and it's called SaveWolfCreek.com, and then got that all done, and I was educated that I had to go social media and get a Facebook account. So we now have a Wolf Creek Facebook account, and it's been good because a lot of people use it, And so we've been putting information up about it. We have videos. You can see all the machinery running. And then we also have just completed our nonprofit status. You know, it's all about the public now.